Hello, this is Dana Snook here, and I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about why having your child lose weight is a bad idea. I'm Dana Snook, a nutrition therapist that helps families raise children that have a healthy relationship with food. Today, I wanted to talk more about why you should not have your child lose weight. One thing you may realize is last week there was a huge controversy with Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers just disclosed that they are going to be allowing children 13 years and older to join Weight Watchers for free this summer with a paid adult. The problem with this is that this is reinforcing that children should be changing their bodies and not adapting to what their bodies are actually supposed to be. So one of the problems with this is, and the biggest controversy that's kind of coming up around this is, why can't we have children eat healthier and be healthier? And Weight Watchers is saying that their program is designed for kids to have healthier habits versus it be about dieting. The problem is that children are just going to get misinformation. They're going to feel probably worse around their eating, and it's not going to help overall around their eating. It's important to really acknowledge that we're all living in the same environment, and the same environment means having the environment around diet culture. So we have a lot of pressure on us as adults to change our bodies. So whether it's that we're changing our bodies through weight loss, or changing our bodies through exercise, or maybe it's that we're trying to stay younger or look younger, or change our appearance in any way. And so our children are not immune to this. Infiltrating our children more than it ever has. And this is a huge concern because as a parent myself, I'm seeing every day where this kind of information is seeping into my daughter's brain and starting to influence her a little bit around her eating. So recently this week, I had a parent come to me and say that their child had said that they were no longer going to eat candy. And the mom asked why, and the child said, because I was told candy is bad for me and that I wouldn't be healthy. And so this is sending a signal to a child to actually feel guilt and shame around eating those foods. So what does that mean if your child were to join a weight loss program? Or what does that mean if a parent, you're concerned about your child's weight and you think that they should lose weight? This is going to send signals to a child that there is something wrong with their body, and in some way or form they need to change their body. The problem is what we know from research. Research we know is that children as young as 3 years old are aware of body size. And by 6 years old, our children are already knowledgeable that being in a thinner body is better than being in a larger body. The other thing is that children that hear that they are in a larger body, they feel flawed in all ways. They feel less attractive, they have lower self-esteem, and they also feel less smart. It's amazing to know that children, they internalize the thoughts around their bodies so much that they would feel less intelligent in just knowing that their bodies are different sizes than other people's bodies. And if you don't believe this, it's something that happens in my practice all the time. I've worked with clients in the past who have been in larger bodies who felt like they had to get straight A's in school in order to make up for the fact that their parents might be disappointed in their body size. And this is a real reality for some of our teenagers. So telling teenagers that when they come to you and they say that they're uncomfortable in their body, and I'm saying teenagers because this is what Weight Watchers is marketing to specifically, but this isn't just about teenagers. This is about 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds coming to their parents and telling them that they're fat and they don't like their body. And this is starting younger and younger as time goes on. So when we reinforce to a child that they feel uncomfortable in their bodies, that they should do something about it, it's telling them and reaffirming to them that there's actually something wrong with their body. Some of my adult clients that I work with that were working on repairing their relationship around food, things that stem back. And a lot of times they realize that the messaging they got around their bodies at a young age was detrimental to how they feel about their bodies now. So it's really common that, some of my clients go, oh my gosh, when I went to my mom at whatever age it was, 8 years old, 10 years old, 14 years old, and said, I wanted to change my body, and my mom said, okay, I'll help you. It just reaffirmed they were feeling uncomfortable in their body, and then that there was indeed something wrong with their body. And no parent does this out of to harm their children. Really, it's just a parent is uncomfortable, doesn't know what to do, and they say, okay, well, let's fix the problem. If they feel uncomfortable in their body, let's fix their body. But what we do know is that it's never about body. So when we feel uncomfortable in our bodies, a lot of times it's what else is going around in our life that could be interfering with that. So if you are thinking that by having your child lose weight, it's going to fix the problem around their body, I'm here to tell you that it's probably just going to make the problem worse. And as they get older and older, it's going to start to interfere with their relationship with food and their body. Also, one of the things that we do know from research is that children in eating disorder treatments, a lot of times those children have been told that that are in larger bodies and need to lose weight. And so then after years and years of hearing that they need to lose weight, they go on to try to lose weight and develop eating disorders. And that is really confusing for children. And the clients that I've worked with in these situations is a child is like, well, everyone told me to lose weight. Now I did. And now it's a big problem and I'm in treatment. And so it's a really confusing message. So we have to be really careful. What is this message we're giving to our children? It's okay to lose weight, but not too much weight. And it's not okay to not enjoy your body. It's not okay to be comfortable in your body. So in my private Facebook group where I help parents with this and support them, one of the parents said, okay, well, my young child is telling me that they're uncomfortable with body. How do I handle this if I'm not going to try to change their body? And one of the best advice that I can is to be really, really curious and to dig deeper. When kids say things, there's always more to it. And I've told this story on my blog and my Facebook page before, but at one point, my daughter came to me and told me that my belly was growing and that I was eating too much. And yeah, I mean, it hurts a little bit for a second, but I was able to step back and go, this is coming from somewhere. Where is she hearing this, that she would even say this? Because this is not the kind of talk that we have in our house. And so it took me asking more questions. Why did you say that to mommy? Where did you hear that at? And those type of things. Long story short, she heard it on Peppa Pig. So they make fun of Daddy Pig and they tell him that his belly is big and it's because he eats too much. And so while my daughter was innocent in it and just purely repeating, she had no idea what she was saying, these little parts of diet culture, they creep into our children's lives. So if your child comes to you and says, I want to lose weight, I want to change my body, I feel fat, I am fat, it's really important to get curious. Ask questions with your child. So say, like, well, why do you think you're fat? Where did you hear that you're fat? Is someone saying that you're fat? What is making you feel these things? Sometimes it could be bullying at school. Sometimes they could have overheard parents talking. Sometimes they could have heard their friends making fun of somebody that's fat. So it's really important that you dig a little bit deeper and then use your parental intuition to be able to answer the questions as honestly as possible. And this is where I help families more one-on-one, like when these questions come up and how to respond and how to, because the responses are going to be different depending. The other thing is don't dismiss it. If a child comes to you and says, I feel fat, even if they're not in a larger body, never dismiss it. Ask them why. Why do you feel that way? Because if we dismiss it and we just say, oh, there's nothing wrong with you, we're negating the feelings that they're having, and those feelings are coming from somewhere. Also, be truthful. If a child says, I feel fat because I got weighed today at school and my weight is higher than my friends, it's a really good opportunity to talk about differences. And so rather than be like, oh, you're fine, there's nothing wrong with you, or okay, well then let's do something about it, or whatever it be, it's important to step back for a second and say, okay, you're right. Your body is different than your friends. And then this is a great opportunity to talk about why. So your body is different because just like genetic, for genetic reasons. So just like all of our eye colors are different, our hair color is different, and all of our heights are different. And I always say, and when I work with kids one-on-one, I will say to them, well, what would you think if we tried to make you taller? Or what would you think if we tried to make you shorter? And kids will say, well, you can't do that. And that's a really good opportunity to open up that conversation around what to do in those situations. Another thing that you can look at doing is talking positively about bodies in your house. And again, this is where sometimes as parents we don't realize what we're doing. So sometimes there might be comments like, wow, did you see how much weight he gained? Or even positive things like, wow, you look great, did you lose weight? All of those are reinforcing that how we look is important. And so rather than focusing on how somebody looks and appearance, how about looking at their qualities? So saying like, wow, you're really strong today, or maybe you're really smart, or you're really intuitive, or what, all of these positive qualities that you can put in your child's mind that's not focusing around body. And one thing, from working with clients is that just telling your child that they're beautiful does not mean that they're going to grow up to have a positive relationship with their body, because at points most people feel uncomfortable in their body. So it's not enough to be able to do that. And the last thing I can give you, the last piece of advice I'll give you before I sign off is that it's really important that you talk to your children in a food neutral way. So when we talk around food in a positive or a negative way, it reinforces to a child that there's guilt and shame around food. So what a young child specifically will hear is if we say cookies are bad and then they eat cookies, they will hear cookies are bad. I want cookies, or I'm eating cookies, and therefore I am bad. And so we are teaching children to have this guilt and shame, versus if a child can sit down at the table and see broccoli and see cookies on the table and not be concerned about either one and think they're the same, there won't be any guilt or shame, and they're going to eat more for their hunger and fullness and then move on. This is not an easy subject to talk about, and it's very controversial right now, especially with all this stuff going on with Weight Watchers. So if you're struggling around this subject, and this is something that really is like bringing a chord with you, I would highly suggest that you look in your area to see if you can find any health at every size, dietitians, therapists, or medical providers that can help you to navigate these tough issues, because they really are tough issues to navigate, and they're not easy for any parent to do. And so it's something that sometimes you need a little bit of more assistance. Both in my online and my private practice that I have in Pennsylvania, I do this work, but sometimes it's more important to find somebody in your area as well. I am going to post a blog post at the bottom in the comments here, and the blog post is going to give you all of the tips that I just had that you can either print out or go back and save for longer. And every week I'll be joining you with new topics to talk about, so don't be afraid to hit the subscribe button so you can get alerted every week to when I post a new video that'll be live, so that you can learn about raising your children with a healthy relationship with food. Have a great day.